Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's a change of scenery. I hope my audio's okay. Let me know if my audio's okay. How are you guys doing today? We are outside because it is beautiful out, and we are going to talk about some of the stuff going down with Blake and Justin this week. Of course, right? We're going to touch on it. We're going to talk about it, and we have a very special guest that will be here in about 10 minutes. I decided I would get us all in, get everyone settled before Lauren got here. But if you know Lauren, I am so excited. Hello, guys. It's so nice to see you. I am so excited to have Lauren over on the channel. Let me grab her just in case anyone doesn't know her. I feel like that's impossible at this point, but let me grab her YouTube channel for you. So, Court of Random Opinion. Let me post it here. There we go. So if you're not already following Lauren, you can go over and give her a like, a subscribe, hang out with her as well. She's incredible. She's hilarious, which is going to show how not funny I am, but I'm very excited to hang out with her. So what we're going to be talking about today, or what I want to talk to her about, she's already dove into these, I haven't seen them yet, is the declaration of Ellen S. Garofalo in support of Jennifer Abel's letter motion to compel compliance with document subpoena served on non-party Vanzan Inc. So we're going to be diving into that. I am so excited. What do you guys think about that? And I want to hear how you guys are feeling after this week. I know this week has been a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. Yeah, she never sleeps. I don't know how she does it. When we were talking about going on each other's channels, I was like, but I don't stream at 10 p.m. So I can't do that. How are you guys doing? But how are you feeling this week? You have to look out for your mental health. Yes, please like the stream. Hang out, guys. Let's just go over this document really quick before. Oh, I'm so glad that you appreciate the couple hours heads up. It's also good for my ADHD. It helps me have something I'm working towards. Okay, so let's go over this quick while everyone settles into the chat. This says that I'm a partner with the law firm Linear Freedom Tattleman and Cooley, LLP, attorneys for record, the defendant and counterclaimant Jennifer Abel. I submit this declaration in support of Ms. Abel's letter motion to compel compliance with a document subpoena served on non-party Vanzan Inc. on April 21st, 2025. The Vanzan or Van Sham subpoena. A true and correct copy of the Vanzan subpoena is attached and incorporated. A true and correct copy of the complaint filed in Vanzan versus Doe's 1 through 10, which is such a sham. This is attached and incorporated as Exhibit B. A true and correct copy of the December 19th, 2024 notice of discontinuance filed in the Vanzan action is attached and incorporated. Apart from the complaint and notice of discontinuance, there are no entries on the docket in the Vanzan action, and a judge was neither requested nor assigned before the Vanzan action was discontinued. It's wild. Attached here, Exhibit D is a true and correct copy of the docket sheet, a true and correct copy of an April 21st, 2025 deadline article. Oof, deadlines entered the chat, in which Blake Lively's counsel from the law firms Manette, Phelps, and Phillips, LLP, and Wilkie, Farr, and Gallagher, LLP, acknowledge and defend the Vanzan action and subpoena is attached and incorporated. Oof. All right, so my office participated in a series of meet and confer conferences with Vanzan's counsel from the law firm Zuckerman, Spader, LLP, via email and Zoom. During these conferrals, Ms. Abel agreed to withdraw requests numbers 2 to 3 and 5 through 8 and narrow the scope of many of the remaining requests. I feel like she shouldn't have to narrow the requests. Like this is a scam. But I suppose she did. Specifically, Ms. Abel agreed to 1, narrow request 4 to seek only the identities of Vanzan's shareholders. Interesting. 2, narrow request number 9 to seek only communications between Vanzan and its counsel and Stephanie Jones and Joneswork LLC and or their counsel. Stephanie Jones can't get away. 3, narrow request number 10 to seek only the subpoena served by Vanzan on Joneswork LLC and or Stephanie Jones. And 4, narrow request number 11 to seek only documents produced pursuant to such subpoenas. And point 8, notwithstanding the proposed compromise, as of the date of filing, Vanzan has not produced a single document responsive to Miss Abel's request. Like, Blake can't just turn shit over. Blake can't do that. That is too hard. I'm so like, well, I'm not even apologizing. I'm outside. We have roosters. We have chickens. You might even be able to see the horses. One of the ponies is behind me, but I don't think you can see him. He's just hiding behind. Oh, there's his little tail. So you'll probably, oh, there he goes. Be able to see the horses behind me on and off as they meander. It's a nice day today after it was like a hellscape. Oh, where is it? Hello, hello. It's so nice to see you. Wayfarer are finally on the offensive. I'm here for it. I am so excited to see some of this stuff come out. New Van Sham song out. Is there really? Who is making these songs? I need to know who's making these songs. Hello, it's so nice to have you on live. I want to come ride your horses. They are not, I don't ride them anymore. They're all retired. There are some very expensive show horses there. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to ride anymore. And so then I didn't. So they just got retired to the field. And mostly they're rescues that have never been ridden. And you probably don't want to because they are, well, they've never been ridden. Let me see if I can find the other one. But I did used to compete back in the day when I was younger. All right. So let's see. This is also here. Okay, so this is a letter, re Stephanie Jones and Jonesburg versus Jennifer Abel. Dear Judge Lyman, defendant and counterclaimant Jennifer Abel respectfully moves pursuant to Rules 1C and 4C of your Honor's individual practices and Rule 45 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure for an order compelling the production of documents from non-party Vanzan. Like, I don't understand Blake Lively. She wants everyone else to turn everything over, but she has not turned a damn thing over. Actually, I was thinking about this. Let me know what you guys think. Lauren should be here any minute, but let me know what you guys think. So I think it's not November. Oh my gosh, I hope it's not November. July 9th, that Blake Lively's deposition has been moved to. I also believe July 9th is the deadline to file if they're going to do an appeal. So I found that really interesting. So I have a funny feeling that she's not going to show up for that one, that she's trying to like kick the ball as far as she can to avoid having, or like to kind of force Justin and Brian's hand on what they're going to do. But I thought that was really interesting timing. So this says Abel's claims against Joneswork LLC and its principal Stephanie Jones center on the allegations that in August 2024, just prior to Abel's scheduled departure from Jones' employ, Jones seized Abel's cell phone and accessed the downloaded contents. In anticipation of litigation against Abel and the Wayfarer parties, Jones collaborated with Blake Lively to contrive a mechanism for Lively to obtain the data that Jones had pirated, I love that, from Abel's phone and cloud accounts, including confidential and privileged text messages, which are the centerpiece of this dispute. I would love to see like actual criminal charges go down for this. This was accomplished through a subpoena issued in a sham action captioned Vanzan versus Doe's 1 through 10. Abel is informed and believes that Vanzan is a shell company owned or controlled by Blake Lively and or her husband, Ryan Reynolds. I mean, yeah, I think we all believe that at this point, that it's a shell company. The facts speak for themselves. The Vanzan complaint asserted only a bare bones breach of contract claim, bereft of factual allegations against 10 Doe defendants who, although parties to an allegedly breached contract with Vanzan, were never named or served. And this is what always, I think all of us thought was really weird. How do you say there was a breached contract without knowing who breached the contract? That's the biggest thing for me, is how do you know that there was a breached contract? Be like, I have no idea who it is, but these people breached a contract. See, even my rooster, Gandalf, agrees with me. That's Gandalf yelling. In other words, Vanzan had no discernible need for the information Jones obtained from Abel's cell phone. After the Vanzan subpoena's return date, the Vanzan action was dismissed without any other proceedings and without ever having requested the assignment of a judge. The Vanzan subpoena opened the door for Lively to obtain the documents Jones extracted from Abel's phone without notice to Abel or the Wayfarer parties against whom Lively intended to use the information. Yeah, such a sham. Lively produced at least some of the information during discovery, confirming that the Vanzan action was successful in facilitating the transfer of Abel's data to Lively prior to the filing of Lively's claims against Abel and the Wayfarer parties. Lively's lawyers have publicly acknowledged and defended the sham Vanzan action and subpoena, declaring that there is nothing untoward here, just conscientious and thorough investigation. and characterized the Vanzan action and subpoena as common tools that are entirely lawful and appropriate for pursuing claims and uncovering the identity of unknown perpetrators of unlawful activities. And I don't doubt that doing that, like a Doe lawsuit, is legal. That's never been my problem with what happened. It's how do you say these people breached a contract, but sorry, we don't know who they are. They are Does. I mean, it was very clearly done strictly to get information without alerting Justin Baldoni and the Wayfarer parties. I mean, it seems very obvious that's what happened. Oh, hello, Leanne. It's so nice to see you in the chat. Never thought this would be a criminal case, but Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds made their bed. Yep, they sure did. Oh, I think Luna's hanging out with us too back there, although they're so far away that I don't think you can see the horses, unfortunately. Arguing the end should justify the means, Lively's lawyers admitted the Vanzan action and subpoena enabled them to access Lively's text messages. Abel's text messages. My apologies. Such tactics are hardly common or appropriate, whereas here the lawsuit is a sham. The subpoena is intended to obtain information irrelevant to the proceeding in which it was issued, and oh my gosh. See, this is what I'm saying. To obtain privileged and confidential information without notice. That's what I'm saying. I'm so glad they're finally calling it out in documents, in legal documents, because that is exactly what I've been saying. Without notice. And to cover up Jones' prior disclosure of Abel's confidential and privileged information to Lively before the subpoena was even served. Sounds about right. Abel remains in the dark. She'll be here in just a moment, guys. Don't worry. I just got the message first. She's like, I will be there. I promise. Let me just get back to her. That's what, and this is, I'm so glad it's finally being said in the court because this is exactly what happened. Abel remains in the dark as to whether Jones actually produced documents in response to the Vanzan subpoena or whether the Vanzan subpoena was merely a smokescreen to conceal Jones' prior disclosure of Abel's information. That's what I think it was. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. The conduct at the core of Abel's claims. Abel has now subpoenaed Vanzan for documents relating to the Vanzan subpoena and release of Abel's stolen information to Lively. Abel's original subpoena included 11 categories. During the meet and confer process, Abel agreed to withdraw 6 of the original requests and substantially narrow the remaining 5 requests. I don't understand why she had to withdraw any. That just drives me crazy, if I'm being honest. Vanzan has rebuffed this overture and refused to produce any of the requested documents. Abel now seeks to order compelling the production of documents responsive to 5 of the 11 requests set forth in the subpoena. So I think we already went over that. The 5 requests. Rule 26b1 provides that parties may obtain discovery regarding any non-privileged matter that is relevant to the party's claim or defense and proportional to the needs of the case. That seems reasonable. The requests are also relevant to Abel's allegations that Jones relayed the data she obtained from Abel's phone to Lively prior to service of the subpoena, and that the sham, I love that they keep calling it a sham Vanzan action and subpoena were devised to allow Jones to hide behind an allegedly lawful subpoena. Oh my gosh, I hope there's criminal charges. I am here for the day there are criminal charges. This has got to be illegal. Subpoenas were devised to allow Jones to hide. Oh, we already read that. Vanzan's organizational documents and documents identifying its owners are relevant to show whether, as Abel alleges, Lively and or proxies owner control Vanzan and were participants in a scheme for Jones to transfer the information through a sham complaint without notice to Abel or the parties. Without, opportunity to object. Oy, 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 oy. Yeah, the chickens, they're loud. It's so funny. Whenever someone comes to the farm, they go, and hopefully my internet is okay out here. It should be okay. And anyone comes to the farm and they go, I thought roosters only crowed in the morning. I'm like, no, they literally crow from first thing in the morning, like 4 a.m. in the morning until 10 o'clock at night when they finally go to bed. How are you feeling? You're so nice asking. That's so kind. I don't feel that great. But I have an appointment. For the doctors. Not a big fan of going to the doctors, but I have an appointment for the doctors. Yes, they They literally crow all day. And then luckily we live in like the middle of nowhere. The chickens are on that side of the property, and then the horses are on this side, and then the goats and sheep are at the back. Luckily we're in the middle of nowhere, because then you get the hens that will do their like hen song, and then they start going. You guys might have the privilege, you won't be able to hear me over it, but the privilege of hearing them go crazy, and it's just so loud. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. You guys are so kind. Yeah, I don't know. Last week I was off. I had just a sore stomach, and I thought it was like just a stomach bug, or I get stomach ulcers sometimes. And then it went away. Oh, and I also thought it might be magnesium pills I was taking. Went away, and it's back again. So we're gonna see. Oh, Lauren's here. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I am so excited, but I told everyone you're the funny one, so it's really going to show how funny I am not having you
I'm
here
so
today.
tired today. I don't know if I can live up to that. So you started super early, because I pulled up your YouTube channel just to get the link to share, and all of a sudden there's a rooster on my phone. I'm like, oh my God, there's roosters. And it made me feel like I needed to run. I don't know. So I ran up the stairs, and I was like, I'm winded. Now I have to wait a minute. So here I am.
No, we're all good. I thought everyone could settle in. I thought we'd talk about, well, everything that's gone down this week, but I hadn't touched on the Vanzan lawsuits and the subpoena to deal with those. So I thought I was 10 minutes early anyway. I'm like, you know what? I'll just jump on, get everyone settled in before you get here. So you're all good.
So you and the rooster are both like getting on it. Okay.
Okay, yeah. The roosters wake me up here. You're gonna have to come visit one day.
Yeah, I have not been to Canada, so.
Well, now you have an excuse to come visit.
There you go.
All right, my friend, I need to hear, and the people want to hear what your thoughts are on this week. Everyone's been asking me.
Well, it's been an interesting time for my sleep cycle, I would say. I obviously stayed up the other night until, of course, midnight, waiting for that, and then I waited a little bit longer just to make sure they did not amend. And then I did a video, and then I was just like, what the heck is going on? And so then yesterday I drove home from Orlando early in the morning. And then I was like, finally, I'm going to get a good night's sleep, and I'm not going to have to check Pacer today. And then, of course, this comes out last night, late at night, while I'm in the middle of what was supposed to be a short stream with Omar, the Tilted lawyer. And we were just like, well, I guess this is happening now. So I don't know. I feel like it's one thing after another. Even when I feel like it's over, I'm like, oh, this is over for a little bit. No, it's not. So, it's kind of, I don't know. I feel like I'm playing ping pong with my brain here.
Yeah, I feel like I have whiplash after this week. So we're all excited, right? And like amped up for the second amended complaint. And then it was just, I saw you were staying up, and I was like, oh God, no, there's no way.
Yeah.
You guys need to go to see Lauren if you're expecting it, and then wake up and nothing happens. So, okay. My theory is I originally thought something went down Monday. I thought that meant that Blake showed up for her deposition, which we now know she didn't.
Sure.
And then they figured out something big and decided not to go with the second amended complaint. But obviously that's not what happened. So what are your thoughts around this?
I mean, maybe they thought they just weren't going to get too much out of that, to be honest, compared to their original claims altogether. Maybe he's tired. Maybe he's like, he wants to spend time with his family. He doesn't want to like keep fighting this when it seems like an uphill battle and like some of their bigger claims are thrown out. Maybe it's better just to leave the option open for an appeal later and just move on to defending against the harassment claims and all that. I mean, that's my only guess, really. Otherwise, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's what I was thinking too, because the only thing I could think is it's not worth fighting for. But is it true? Someone had messaged me this, and I don't know if it's true, that if it turns out to just be the the SH suit against Justin, that Sarowitz might be out of it. That's something I've been seeing floating around, that he might not be backing it because he's not involved anymore.
I doubt that. Especially because these complaints are also against the studio. And Sarowitz is, does he like co-found the studio or co-owns it or something? I don't know. So I doubt very much that he would just bail on the studio. You know what I mean? So, or on Justin. So I don't feel like that's the case. I want to say I'm not going to jump to that conclusion, but I understand why people would worry about that. Obviously, I don't know much about Steve Sarowitz as an individual, but I presume that given he apparently, whether or not the words that he used or exactly as described in Blake's complaint, apparently will vigorously defend his friend. So I'd be surprised. I would be surprised if he just dropped out of supporting that. So
They seem like good people, though, like genuinely good people that are fighting
Mhm.
for what's right. And Steve seems like that too. Like he's just
Yeah.
fighting for what he believes is right.
Mhm.
I hope
Yeah.
we get everything back. I want to have them to the farm afterwards. Oh, did you know we have a little farm animal sanctuary?
I think I did. I heard you talk about that before. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a little farm animal sanctuary. I want to have Justin out to the farm after this is all over.
What's in there?
We have goats, we have horses. I was hoping they might, provide for the ambiance of the live, but they've all pieced out. They're not hanging out behind me. But we have horses. We obviously have the chickens, but we have horses, goats, and sheep. And so we wanted to build like a little podcast studio out by all the rescue animals and do
Oh,
like
that's cool.
a podcast back there.
You should definitely do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Let's see if I can get this. How do I get it? Oh, there we go. So we were looking at this right before you came on with the Vanzan, like Jennifer Abel. Oh, were you on? I forgot to ask. Were you on the dial-in to see what was going on with Brian Friedman and everyone?
I was, but I was also working. So I was like half listening, and then this time I knew you're not supposed to record, so I did not do that. So I have no idea. I missed bits and pieces, and I have no idea what was said there. So.
Oh, that's right. Because didn't you record the first time? You're like, I didn't know.
I've never done anything like this before, and I saw like my friend Dave, who got me into YouTube. He and I had never covered a case like this before, and I was like, well, I had no idea that was not a thing, So especially because in the beginning, where they're explaining that you're not supposed to like record or anything like that, I couldn't figure out the dial-in, so I was sitting there fumbling with the phone, and I just like missed that entirely. So I don't know if you remember this. I emailed the judge's chambers. I was like, hi, do you want me to take this down? They said yes, please. Yeah, it was very cordial. No one got mad at me, but commenters got mad at me, but the court was not mad at me, so that's good.
No. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. So you did join. Was there any tidbits you want to share with anyone?
Honestly, I thought it was pretty boring. It was really? Pretty boring to me. So yeah, I mean, they were just arguing over text messages, whether or not these people's texts from certain time periods should fall within the scope of what they can subpoena. And there was some stuff about group text where like there are non-parties and people who are not even third parties in these group texts. So why should you have access to these? And that's mostly what I heard. I know Zach said something about they had talked about depositions. I think, was it at some point? I don't know. I don't think it was Blake's deposition, but for these people involved, I think that's what he said, but I don't quote me on that because I could have gotten that wrong. But I think they said something about trying to schedule that for like in July, early July, but I'm not 100% positive. So.
Oh, that might have been where the July 9th date came for Blake.
I think it is. I'm not positive though, because I didn't actually hear that part. Like I said, I was working, so I was kind of in and out.
That I was saying just before you came on, the July 9th date for Blake is interesting for me because I think that's the deadline to appeal the defamation lawsuits. Is also July 9th. Yeah, which I thought was really interesting.
I keep hearing different things on that. Some people say like final judgment, 30 days from final judge. I don't know though. So I'm gonna have to double check because Omar's explained this to me like 4 times, and every time I'm like I fall asleep at a different part of the explanation because it's so late at night. So like please help me. I need to sleep.
The chat wants to know when you talk about work, what you do for work.
So I do a couple different things. I work in emergency psych at the hospital, but I don't do that full time anymore. I just do that part-time on some weekends. And then full-time during the week, I work from home and I write appeals. So when people go to the hospital and their insurance companies don't want to pay their bills, or when they go to the doctor, even like as an outpatient, their insurance companies don't want to pay the bills, I have to go over their medical records and I have to write to their insurance companies and be like, hey, you need to pay this bill. This is why, and explain what happened, what warranted the treatments that they got, what they did, and all that stuff. And just basically write like, kind of like be like a little bit of a Karen, but politely to insurance companies is what I do during the week. So
they need it though, the insurance companies.
Yeah.
I genuinely can't picture you though in a super serious job. I don't know. Knowing you from YouTube, I don't know if I can picture you.
Well, keep in mind, I'm writing letters. I'm not on camera with them, so I'm just kind of like here, being weird and typing normally. I don't know. So like I can type like a professional while acting like a total psycho. So it's you know what I mean.
Yes, I can relate to that. Okay, so there you go, guys. That is what Lauren does, and so I imagine that's why you do a lot of late night streams then.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly 9 to 5 for my day job. And then I also do school online. I'm not doing it for the summer, but I also do school online. So I have classes that I do after work most of the
Wow.
time, and then I end up doing. And then also they file these things at like freaking 10, 11 p.m. And so that doesn't help either. So I'm always, it's a perfect storm for me to just never sleep.
For
But
sleep.
we're making it work.
That's what everyone was saying in the chat before you came on. They're like, Lauren, I don't know when she sleeps. Like,
Yeah,
just
me neither.
me either.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, so we were breaking this down, and I know you've already read it on your channel. I think that was the one that went an hour the other day. So for the Vanzan, what are your thoughts on this? I think all along, well, I think we all probably agree on this, but I think all along they knew damn well who they were sending this to or like targeting. I think
Yep.
they already got the text messages before they filed it.
Yeah, I mean, that makes the most sense because Leslie Sloan apparently called and bragged about it to Melissa Nathan the day they got Jennifer Abel's phone. And that was long before the lawsuit was filed, at least a month, I think, before the Vanzan lawsuit was filed. So she kind of messed that up. But like, she couldn't wait to gloat and be like, we're going to sue you for this. I was like, well, you just told on yourself, bro. Like, what? Like, this was bad enough without you telling on yourself first, because obviously it is impractical to think that these people entered into a contract with 10 people, or I know 1 through 10 is just or whatever, but with people they don't know nothing about, who somehow they had a contract with them and somehow those people breached that contract, but somehow they know exactly where to go to get the information they're looking for and exactly who they want that text from. I mean, oh my God. I have to calm down.
No, it makes me feel less crazy when I get all amped up that other people do too over this, but it's true, right? Like, it's just ridiculous. And I hope the judge doesn't buy this bullshit excuse.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine why this would be okay. And I don't know many people who would think that this is normal. I mean, John Doe lawsuit's normal, obviously, in certain circumstances, and it can be used to like identify someone, especially if it's like you need to figure out who online is doing something improper or doing something unlawful. But it's like with the 1 through 10 and the contract, I'm like, so you are telling me you don't know who you were working with, you don't know who you intended a contract with, but you know what you want to know from these people that you don't know, and also where to get it, and also nobody's going to say anything about it. Just here you go. Just go ahead and take it and don't tell anyone. I don't know. It's super weird.
They're all criminal. I feel like this is exposing so much of. Oh, my duck's stuck. Are you stuck? All right, Mama, are you stuck? I have to save my duck. 1 second.
Yes, please.
Or it'll take over.
I hope she means the stream, not the duck thing, because I can't help with that. Let's see, what do we got here? My mental health is affected by my sleep. We probably need more water and sleep, probably. Well, I get enough water. I just don't get enough sleep. Somebody says, aren't your family all psychologists? My dad is a forensic psychologist. My mom is a therapist, licensed therapist, and she also does hypnotherapy. And my sister is a licensed therapist. So they're all in there. And then I'm just kind of like the tape and glue guy on the weekends at the hospital. So I'm not like a licensed person. My master's was actually in criminology. So it's most of my family, yes, except for me. And I'm just I'm there sometimes. Yeah.
Did you say forensic psychology?
My dad is a forensic psychologist, yes.
Oh, do you have an opinion on that Leslie then? Is it Leslie? What's her name? I can't even think of her last name.
Dr. Dobson is
That's what it is.
Whack job.
That's okay. Because we were talking about that in DMs because I hadn't known everything that was going on with her, and
you cannot diagnose public figures, and she's doing that with like other cases too. So like, I saw another case that I had been following. She gave all this like really specific like diagnosis and all these opinions, and I was like, clearly you have looked at like 2 headlines and done no research on this, and this is highly inappropriate. And then I look at like what she's saying about Justin, and she made up that stuff about Shasti and touching Blake's baby bump, and I was like, where is this coming from? Why, is a licensed professional, do you feel comfortable doing this?
And that's
even if you were allowed, even if that was allowed, you should not do that. Like I would feel icky doing that. You know?
Did you watch the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial when the one psychologist diagnosed Johnny Depp based on his character Jack Sparrow?
I actually didn't. I didn't see a lot of that trial. So.
Oh my God! Do you guys remember in the chat? So this Dobson reminds me of that guy. So they bring him on the stand to give a diagnosis of Johnny Depp, but he had never met Johnny Depp. And then it comes through that it was based off of the character of freaking Jack Sparrow. Thank you so much, Glow. I just love seeing you in the chat. Yeah, based on the character of Jack Sparrow.
Oh, well, Jack Sparrow was being brought to court, to be fair. So
that's what it sounds like with this Dobson. Yeah, I imagine you can be reported to the board too.
Yep. That's why so many licensed psychologists won't even say anything. I mean, there's people online who, like, I don't know if you know who Dr. Grande is. I watch Dr. Grande.
No.
Like, there's people online who know how to handle themselves within the bounds of, like, the ethical expectations of their licensing board, and they can talk about public cases and say, this is something that might be going on under these circumstances, and kind of speculate on different scenarios. Yeah. And that's not the same as saying, this person has this disorder, or this person is an abuser based on, well, somebody sent me secret Sony documents and I'm not going to tell you where they came from. So, you know, it's different.
And then she said multiple people that he essayed multiple people in a freaking TikTok video.
Yep. It's absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts.
I want to pull up her TikTok to show him. So I don't even want to give her the satisfaction of people watching, and I don't know if she gets paid for views or whatever. I'm Canadian, so we don't get paid for TikTok, but I don't know if she does. I don't want to give the satisfaction of that, but she was accusing him of multiple. My dog stepped on a bee. You guys are like, we watched it. We watched the trial.
Oh my God.
Oh, I wish you were around for the trial.
I saw bits and pieces of it. I know the dog stepped on a bee thing. So yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's always going to, like, that and the pooping the bed is always going to be attached.
That I know too. I wish I didn't, but I do. Yeah. I do know that one too.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen with her. And then I don't know if you saw this, but that Leslie Dobson was replying to people up until recently on her TikTok that were saying, you know, you're going to be deposed, and she's like, I like that. I like when that happens.
That's normal. Yeah.
Like,
that's normal behavior.
That's normal behavior. Like that's well adjusted. I can't even imagine walking into her office.
Yeah, she sounds well. No, absolutely not. No, that's not normal.
No, and especially for someone with that education. She said it would be fun to be deposed. Yeah, that's what she's going around saying.
Not if you actually did some shit that you're being accused of. It wouldn't. Oh my goodness, I can't.
And maybe she just wants to be a part of the trial so she can go, like, viral.
It certainly seems that way. I mean,
objection here. Say now, you guys are going crazy in the chat over the Johnny. I love it, you guys.
I don't know that one.
So, oh yeah, we could get into it all day, but it was. I want to see Camille involved in this. I know
who that is. Yep.
She's amazing. And beautiful and smart, intelligent. I want to see her involved in this. But
oh my God, I feel like you have a crush on her.
I definitely have a crush on Camille. I definitely have a crush on Camille. I could have.
I was thinking it. It's fine. You were saying it. It's all good.
Who doesn't though? Who doesn't? Hello, my friend. I'm busy. I keep missing both your lives. Well, there you go. We're together.
Hey,
we're hanging together today. I know. I did tell them. I said to you that we couldn't do like a 10 p.m. stream though. There was no way. I was like, we have to do midday.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that nothing else happens tonight so I can go to bed.
Oh, well, let's see. Let's actually see. There's nothing this morning. Oh, it's just a letter to seal. Opposition.
Yeah, it's a continue to seal. So it's like nothing we haven't, nothing's going to come up. It's just, we just won't see something that we haven't seen, that we can't see because it's under seal. So.
Well, that's
basically just like, don't release this one. I don't want them to see that. So.
Do you think could that be the Taylor text? Maybe not.
It has something to do with that because it was with the protective order, but it's Exhibit C of that motion for the protective order. I'm not sure what was in it though. I can't remember.
Oof. I'm dying for the Taylor text. I genuinely think if Blake ever feels pressure to settle and issue an apology, it'll be because of Taylor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's going to fix anything, but yeah, probably not at this point, but yeah.
Oh, Leanne's in the chat too. We'll get amped up
Leanne.
over this. Leanne, did you want to hop on? Do you want to hop on? Let me know. I can send you a link. Amica cream. The Amica cream to get rid of the bruise. Oh my gosh.
Oh, is that when she pretended that she got her face beat up?
Yep. And used Amica cream.
What is Amica cream? I don't know what Amica cream is.
I think it's like, so I've used a variation of that, and it's like supposed to get rid of like pain from bruises and like circulation and stuff. So I think
Oh,
she
so
was
it's for real bruises. Okay.
it's like for real muscle pain and injuries. Yeah.
Mhm.
Not whatever that was with her color palette. Where she's like, I'm just putting my color palette on to create the bruise, to fix the bruise.
Yeah, right.
That's gonna be 2.0 though, I guarantee you. If
Mm.
or it's not gonna be streamed. But if Blake gets on the stand, what's gonna be
Yeah.
her I stepped on a bee moment?
I don't know, but I'll be there if it goes to trial. So
Okay, so how far are you? Where are you in the US?
I'm in
Not
Florida.
don't tell us your like location shit.
My
I don't
address is.
I don't need
No,
it. You want my location share?
I'm a little outside of Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
That was like such an opportunity to come back with a Blake Lively snark. But do you want my location share?
Yeah, right.
I'm a Virgo, so we think like, do you want my location share? No, we don't need that. So
Yeah,
would you actually
she
would
seems like a great interviewer, honestly. I mean, wow, what could go wrong?
what could go wrong? It's gonna be word salad. It's gonna be garden variety word salad.
That's
not
the one
garden
thing she and I have in common, though. You start talking to me about certain stuff, it's just word salad all over the place. So
variety. Not with you.
absolutely with me.
I don't believe that at all. You're a hoot.
I mean, I like to think so, but sometimes I get lost in my ADD bubble brain, and stuff just comes out. I don't know.
Do you know your astrology sign? Now everyone's letting their astrology sign.
Yes, I'm a Scorpio. And nobody likes those apparently, so I try not to tell people.
I try not to tell people. Oh, Leanne, see, you guys are like, Leanne just asked if you want to hop on to let her know. Oh, I'll get her a link. I don't know how do I get a link when I'm actually in here? I don't even know how.
Just go to.
Is that it? Invite?
Yeah.
See, I took Twitter or X off my phone because it just stresses me out. So I have to
delete you deleted your account at one point or something?
Yeah. I
was
just
like, where'd she go? Oh no.
Y'all would be crazy. I'm just like piecing out of this mess. Let me see. But yeah, so I did delete it for a bit. And I know you like for a little bit, you were like, I'm not, and then you came back right away. But just like
that's how that usually goes, honestly. No, I was very upset because so the thing is, and I'm not gonna say too much here because I don't want to draw too much attention to them. But there are like these, groups that will like they're not very fond of Justin and whatever. So they'll follow certain creators, and I guess they had like a little Discord, and so someone in there found my phone number and put it in the Discord.
They did not.
So I was getting texts from people like calling me Shamu and shit, and I was getting people on Twitter like just like relentlessly like messaging me and tagging me and calling me all kinds of, usually some variation of "you're a fat pig" or comparing me to different fat celebrities and stuff like that, which I at some point, like it doesn't usually bother me that much, but at some point when there's so much coming from all angles, like they're emailing me at my personal email, my YouTube email, they're emailing me at my old college email address that I barely ever use. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is nuts. And like, I'm just a random person. Why are you doing this? And all I did was like, I like someone that you don't like, you know what I mean? And I don't agree with you on something. Like even people like on YouTube and stuff who are like very adamantly like pro Blake, and they like say things that I really hate. I don't like draw attention to them. I don't really go over there and be like, this person's a piece of crap for this reason. Like, you know what I mean? I leave people alone. Largely leave people alone unless you're violating or abusing your license as a psychologist. Then I'll, fuck with you. But just as a general rule, if I don't like somebody, I'm gonna block them or I'm gonna ignore them or whatever. And then it's just like, what is everybody doing? Why me? Why do you want to talk to me so bad? And then I got a really disturbing Discord message from somebody related to a different case that I was covering. And I was just like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for like a day. But then when people kept texting me, I was like, well, obviously if I'm leaving and I'm still getting these messages, then what's the point in even trying to walk away? I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the internet, I guess. So, yeah.
What is wrong with people?
Yeah, I think people don't realize the extent that I will like get harassment like that. And then there's a big difference between sharing your opinion on your friggin' Twitter account and going to someone else's, messaging them and forcing your unwanted communication on them. That is harassment. Okay. If I say like, I don't like Blake Lively, I think she's a piece of crap, it's not the same as me going to her profile, clicking DM, and be like, I hate you. I hope you die. You know what I mean? Like, that is not the same thing. People need to learn the difference.
Exactly. That is wild. I had no idea it was that bad.
I didn't want to say too much because I knew that would just make it worse. And I was already making it worse by like playing into it. So yeah, I was flailing for a couple days there. It was pretty bad.
I don't think people even realize the mental health aspect of that. Like, there was a YouTuber, she had a Save a Fox YouTube page, and she just someone sent me a message? Guys, I don't have it on my phone.
Leanne sent Lark Trainer a message.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so it's such a different thing between having a YouTube channel or posting something and finding someone's phone number and tracking them down. And I just posted about this morning on Instagram, where I said this last week it's ramped up. Like, I don't know if it's Blake bots or just Blake supporters or what it is, but they don't just say like, I disagree. They don't just say whatever. They will go for attacks. They tear you down. And then the best part about Blake supporters is it's because you attacked a woman or you said something rude about a woman. As they come down, and I'm like, are you lacking critical thinking skills? What is happening right now? Even if you don't agree with what I post or what I say, you're doing worse than I've ever done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And then of course, when you block them and they make another account, and then they respond by like admitting like, oh, of course you blocked me. I'm gonna force my opinion on you some more. Like, you cannot do that. That is harassment. If somebody says they do not want communication with you, you have to stop.
Wow.
So it's crazy how much that was happening. I was like, you guys have anything else to do? Do you just create Twitter accounts all day? And then the best part for me is like when they're like, oh my gosh, you blocked me. Of course you blocked me. You're a coward. I'm like, no, I just think you're fucking nuts. I don't want to talk to you. Like, I think you're an idiot. Why would I want to sit here and talk to you?
I had someone say that to me. I can't remember what platform I blocked them on, but then they found me on the other one and they're like, you're inauthentic. You talk about authenticity. Blocked me. I'm like, because you're a bully and harassing me. That is why I blocked you. How is that inauthentic? I say all the time on my channel, I'll block your ass if you're rude.
You can like go to your stupid Amber Heard fan page and talk about me any way you want. You can say whatever the fuck you want, as long as you're not like violating my privacy, posting my address or my phone number to a Discord and stuff like that. But like, don't come to me and force that on me. That is no, don't do that.
And Glow says I got threats on Twitter. It was terrifying, like ending threat. Wow. I got that from Swifties. And I didn't even post anything bad. I just said she made a PR move and they were literally sending me death threats. I was like, y'all got some issues. I don't even know.
I see you're still alive, so that's good.
It didn't work. I've had so many people ask, do you have a farm page for your sanctuary? And when I started streaming more, I took it down. I took everything down because like, I don't want people finding me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need people showing up on my house, crazy people. Leanne's here.
Hey, what's up?
Leanne, how are you?
How's it going?
Hi, Lauren. You okay?
I haven't heard your voice in a while, man. It's been a long time.
I know you missed it, right?
Well, I was traveling. Yes, I was traveling a lot, and so whenever you were doing your thing, I was like, oh crap, I'm 17 hours ahead in a different time zone, so I kept missing a lot of stuff. And then I just got back from out of town again yesterday, so I'm just all over the place. And I was like, oh, I wonder how Leanne's doing.
Well, I'm all over the place, but mentally, not kind of physically. I'm going to be all over the place in August when I go on holiday.
That works too. Yeah.
Oh well, that's nice.
Are you going to Ashley's farm? Yeah. Because she has pictures of it online somewhere. We can find it, Yeah,
we can.
Oh, I lived in Wales. I was surrounded by farms. But yeah, I love farms.
Yeah.
We'll have to have like a gathering one day at the farm. It can be like a little spiritual retreat. I'll make you guys meditate and,
I will hang out with the animals instead.
I'll go with the animals instead.
You guys are going to be over there meditating. I'm going to be like making rooster sounds and shit.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be like toxic positivity. And then Lauren's going to go on our YouTube channel and be like, it was like Cafe Gratitude over there with toxic positivity with Ashley. It's like meditate and say what we're grateful for today.
That does actually sound like a likely scenario. I can see that. Yeah.
So Leanne, what are your thoughts about this week, my friend? What are you feeling?
Oh my word. Well, confused. I don't know. It's kind of clearing in my head a little bit now. I was like, initially I thought, when it broke, because I sat up until like 2:00 in the morning my time waiting for the amended complaint, and it didn't come. And then I woke up at like 6 to see if it was there, and it wasn't. I was like, what the hell? What's going on?
Yeah.
I think basically what's happened is the ruling on the motion to dismiss. It's kind of, I think it might have weakened the claim, because you've got to usually have some kind of tort claim. So the defamation would have been the tort claim.
Oh.
And then that would have fed into like the, kind of the contract claims. I think there's speculation as well. The WME contract was a cease at will contract as well, which, so if that's the case, then there's no breach, because either side could have ended it like there and then.
Yeah.
But I think Lyman kind of weakened their case really with the way he kind of ruled on it. So I'm kind of wondering if they're just if they're going to preserve the issue. Because if they appeal now, or if they amend now, then they can't kind of, appeal everything later on. So appealing now would mean that they would be appealing the point of law. And I don't think that's a strong case at all.
Right.
So later on, though, they could appeal the, the facts.
Okay, that makes sense. Then. Yeah, because I was watching Popcorn Planet, and I think Chris Melcher was saying that they doesn't think appealing right. So, now I'm paraphrasing. Please don't quote me on this, but along the lines of like, doesn't think appealing right now is a good idea because of what you said, because the law isn't changed. It's still the law.
Yeah, so it's restricted on the right to appeal now. It would be restricted to, did Judge Lyman err on a legal point somewhere? And I think, although everyone was kind of blindsided with prejudice bit, like we all expected the dismissal,
right?
But legally, I think it is it's a really, really high bar to meet anyway, and the chances of success are really low. But legally, I haven't actually seen many kind of legal experts, including myself, that can categorically say, well, Judge Lyman got that bit of the law wrong. Does that make sense? Like there were things we're not happy with. There were things that didn't make sense, and I think there were grounds to allow leave to refile. But a mistake of some kind or an error on the law, he didn't really hit that. He was quite meticulous, actually. So I don't think they would win if they appealed now. But I think there is a prospect later on, if they appeal and they appeal the law and the fact, then there's a better chance. I'm not going to say a good chance, but a better one. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Sorry, I'm goofing around while you're talking, but I am listening about the mug being bigger than my head, which is like, that's how much coffee I need and multiple cups of it, guys. Sorry. But I think that makes so much more sense. So then now at the end of the day, if all of that's gone, it might just, I guess he's just the defendant now in theory, against Blake.
Yeah. So it's they're all still defendants technically, because the sexual harassment claims are against the Wayfarer, the studio, as well as the the kind of individuals. But you've also got the retaliation as well, and you've obviously still got Stephanie Jones, and all of that still going on.
Well, you could just ask Stephanie Jones psychic how this is going to play out. So.
Oh my God, know, right?
Oh my gosh, do you guys know? I actually think that person is within my network. Like, I actually believe I know that person.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. I'm not thinking, but it's totally cool to keep saying that. Totally cool. Don't feel like you have to change your opinion now.
Well, I'm not saying the psychic is a bad, or anything. I'm just saying, like, it's funny that Stephanie Jones thought it was appropriate to bring a psychic to a work party and be like, she says you're gonna have twins. You know what I mean? So that's just wild.
No, it's so wild, and trust me, it's like I need to get a picture. I'm such a mom. I need to get a picture of my ducks so you guys can see them. They're so cute.
Well, I can't see them. That's not fair.
I know, they're at the other side of the house. They've never. So if you guys ever wonder what I do when I'm not streaming, this is what I do: take pictures of my animals and talk to my animals. But yes, she should ask the psychic for legal advice.
Probably.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Probably.
Maybe shoot them over like an email and tell them.
How's
my
that gonna go? Stephanie, why did you hand over these legal or these text messages without fighting the subpoena that was clearly a sham? Well, my psychic told me they were gonna get them anyways, so I decided just to give it over.
I wonder how that will hold up in court.
Hi,
I wonder
Nicole.
what else the psychic told her. Did the psychic predict all of this?
No.
Yeah, that
psychic
was,
told me that Business Insider was going to talk to Jen Abel.
That was quite wild to wake up to as well. The motion to compel Vanzan.
Oh
I
yeah,
think-
I wanna get your
I
opinion on-
enjoyed that thread.
Oh yes, make sure. Let me grab. Well, you tell us your thoughts. I'll grab your X account so people can head on over.
Oh, I
What
thought
are
you were
your
like about to leave your desk. I was like, can you bring back one of the ducks?
Oh my gosh, they're so hard to carry. They're like boat shaped, right? So I try to carry them, and their legs are so far out the back that they're hard to carry.
What if you just grab them by the legs and then just?
Oh my god! They're like literally walking around. Let me see if I can. You guys see them?
Hi. Yes.
guys.
I'm like moving my head as if I could get closer.
So am I.
So they just
Huh.
hang out, walking around the farm all day and eat the bugs. They're so cute.
That works.
Yeah, but yes, I want to hear boat shape. They're so yeah. God knows what he's doing. Hell yeah, he does. Making them boat shapes, they float. Although these ones can't fly. But anyway, I'm going to grab your X. Let's hear your thoughts, Leanne. What do you think about the Vanzan?
I can't believe they still haven't seen the subpoena.
That's
I actually can't believe they're subpoenaing for a subpoena.
That's true too. What is okay? Here it is. Let me grab I'm going to share it. So make sure to support Leanne as well. Though I feel like you guys know both Leanne and Lauren, but let me grab it here. How do I share this? Oh my god, I am so old. I am so old. Okay, so this is Leanne.
Notice neither one of us is arguing with you on that.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I was talking to my friends this morning. She's like, I think your symptoms are from perimenopause. I'm like, shut up.
Oh, shit.
Shut up. Who says that? It's true, but thanks. So for
yes.
okay, you go, Leanne. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, go on. You ask.
No. So okay, so for the subpoena for it, so that means that they still don't know the details then of any of this.
No, they still have not seen. No, neither side, neither Jones or Lively have produced this subpoena, and I just think that's absolutely crazy.
Wow.
Because you remember when back when when the Vanzan lawsuit was discovered, and Lively's lawyers were doing that kind of little sort of parade, where we did a great job and there was nothing improper here, and they said specifically to Deadline, it was quoted in Deadline, we will produce the subpoena. And now she's refusing. Vanzan is having to be compelled, and it's just absolutely wild.
Vanzan is a broom closet.
Probably.
Good luck with that.
Broom closet in Blake's house.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I saw they called it a shell company. Are you happy to see them calling it out?
Yeah, finally. I think everyone needed that after kind of like the deflated last week with the motion to dismiss, and then today, yesterday with the withdrawing the rest of the claims, which they may bring them back. There's something I'm hoping to kind of, I don't know, spitball some thoughts with Anita's going to try and is going to speak to Omar, but I think there is a scope to bring them back because they were not dismissed with prejudice.
Oh, interesting then. Okay, who is Omar? Everyone knows Omar but me. I feel very much left out of the club.
Omar's the tilted lawyer. Omar's the tilted lawyer. That's the guy I was talking
about.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, see, I feel very left out. It's something against Canadians, isn't it? It's because of Ryan Reynolds, isn't it?
Yes, he's racist. Exactly Omar is racist against Canadians. You heard it here. Tell him I said that.
Because I'm Canadian. Ryan does to us.
No, he's an attorney, a family law attorney out in San Bernardino. So he's been helping out a lot. He goes on, he does his own streams and stuff and covers other cases too. If anyone's interested in, like, he just started Tyler Perry. He was doing the Laura Owens thing. He did a little. I think he did a little bit of Karen Reed, a little bit of Sarah Boone. He does like a lot of stuff. But he's been, hopping in on this one quite a bit lately. So yeah, he's one of my good friends. So I got to see him when I was out in California, and that was, well, it was interesting.
You guys seem like a hoot together, though. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask. Some people in the comments get really mad. They're like, "You shouldn't talk to him like that, Lauren." I was like, "Well, he seems to be fine with it." So I'm gonna not take random strangers' advice on my relationship with one of my best friends. But thank you very much. It's very strange.
Well, I need to meet him one day because now I feel left out that everyone knows who Omar is. He's a night owl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Another night owl. Oh yeah, then I can't participate.
Well, for him it's like 8 o'clock, and then for me it's like I'll be almost midnight. I'm like, how are you still alive?
Oh my gosh.
Because he's 3 hours behind us.
Oh, yes. Well, then that's good to know who. Except like I've heard the name, and I think or no, maybe that's why I wasn't putting 2 and 2 together. Because I think on your channel I've seen him as like the tilted lawyer, and maybe that's why it wasn't connecting. That's the same person.
The guy with the purple lights.
Oh,
yeah, purple lights and incense as well. I see little
the radio voice, the nighttime radio voice.
Yeah, oh, so soothing. So soothing.
Yeah.
I really like him.
I used to think so, but now I just want to argue with him all the time.
So what are his thoughts then on all of this week? Not that you have to speak for him, but was he shocked too?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think, he was obviously, yes, when the amendment didn't come through, he was like, no filing. I was like, yeah, I know. But he did a whole video on that yesterday. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see all of it because I had to work. But he was saying that, if they had amended, then they wouldn't later be able to appeal. I guess it would have prevented them from doing that. So he had a bunch of thoughts. I think he's got like an hour-long video. If people want to watch that, they totally should go over there. I don't want to say too much on his behalf because he says it a lot better than I do, and he has like smart stuff to say, and I'm just kind of like repeating things in layperson terms. So you might want to go listen to him explain it. But yeah,
that's fair enough.
He does explain it really, really well. I will say that. I find him, like, I like to listen to his live streams. It's like first thing in the morning for me, so it's usually a couple of hours after he's done his stream. But it's nice to kind of get back into this lawsuit with a bit of ease rather than kind of be thrown into it.
Right.
And I have to say, Leanne, the chat was saying that you explain things really well. So also a shout out to you.
Thank you. I try.
Your threads are so good, especially for people that might not want to watch like a live stream or a video and prefer written. You break it down in such a way that's digestible.
They're so good. Yeah. Ashley deleted X off of her phone.
They're so good. I don't want any more of this. Just kidding. So I deleted it off my, and it's legit deleted off my phone.
I don't need to know anything else. Leanne explained it all to me, so I'm just gonna get rid of this right now.
No, right? CJ does that as well. She goes on these momentary kind of like, right, well, I'm gonna delete X this weekend, and I might come back in a couple of weeks. I'm like, what?
I mean, I get it. It's volatile.
Oh yeah, I get it.
It's volatile. I like it because I can say whatever I want, but that's bad because then anybody else can say whatever they want, and so it's not fun sometimes.
It's like unhinged. It is unhinged over X. But no, when I left, I had the Swifties that were sending me death threats for only saying that she did a PR move. Apparently that requires you get death threats, and like thousands of them. And then I had Justin people coming for me because I had said I did not agree with, I forget what it was, but there was something I didn't agree with. So Justin people were coming for me, and then Blake people were coming from me. I'm like, what is going on right now? What is, so it's like, screw it. I'm just deleting it.
Yeah. It is weird when I've only had that happen once, and that's when all the financial stuff come out about Judge Lyman, and I was like, I was like watching Cassidy's videos, and people would be in the comments going, oh, everyone needs to go and file this and needs to sign petitions and we need to get rid of this judge. And I was trying to calmly say, look, this is an ongoing lawsuit. It should be up to the parties what they do. If they got the information, they had the information.
Mm-hmm.
So, like really, I was trying to say, like, people shouldn't kind of be inserting themselves and, doing things that may just, it will have no effect. It's almost guaranteed to not be successful, but it could piss the judge off and, cause, repercussions for Wayfarer, prove Blake Lively's point of smear campaigns and online digital armies and all this stuff. And people were like, really sort of coming after me, and like, well, it's a public, public interest matter, and I was like, yeah, and I do understand, but if you're going to file your complaint, then don't make it about this case. If you've got a problem with the judge,
True.
make your case about the judge in general, not because that's, and it's fair if people have issues, file a complaint and go down the correct recourses. But if you make it about this case when you're not a party to the case and you just bombard the judge with hate and all this kind of stuff, then that can ricochet onto the people who are actually involved and have spent a lot of money and time on this case.
Would the judge's tears ricochet? I bet the judge.
File a complaint and maybe we'll find out.
With the judge. Okay, sorry, I'm such a nerd. I was like, you have to say your thoughts out loud. Lauren brings it out of me. You bring it out of me.
Yeah, unhinged. That's what I try to inspire in others.
That's No, I agree with you. And it's a sign of our times that being the level-headed voice gets you attacked.
That's definitely true. I've seen a lot of that. Not from me, because I'm an absolute psycho, but from other people. I've watched other people go through that a lot.
So we have a question here, guys. Is the reporter that did the affidavit really trying to get tossed out, signed under duress and threats? I saw that floating around this morning. What is going along with this? What's happening?
Right.
Well,
I've got some thoughts.
It's not.
Go on, Lauren. You go first.
Well, that's not totally officially. I'm not saying it's not true. I can't say that. I'm just like, I'm very. You guys know I'm like, I stick to what's mostly on Pacer. You'll like every now and then, very rarely, I'll talk about something that's in headlines that doesn't come from like the court. So I don't really want to touch. For me personally, I don't mind if other people talk about it. Of course, I read what other people say. Yeah. I like to keep up, but I don't really speak on things unless I know they're for sure happening, the way that I think they're going to happen and on the docket. So I'm just kind of holding off on that one, not because I don't think that it's true necessarily, but just because I don't want to jump the gun and I don't want to say anything wrong that's later going to be like confusing for people. So I'm just gonna, I got to defer to other people on that one. So
fair enough. That would be wild though.
Yeah. It would.
Well, I've got some kind of from the other side, from the professional side of it. I've got a few thoughts because I've been actually been getting questions about this for the last few days. I have not seen any evidence. Firstly, it's not an affidavit he signed. It's a declaration, right? So they are different. Okay. What Brian Friedman filed is an affidavit. It's a court sworn document, which is usually done in the presence of like a public official, and it is quite it's specific to legal proceedings. A declaration is not. It's still under perjury. But it's not at the same level as an affidavit. So I just want to clear that up. But I have seen no evidence that there was anything done under duress. I will keep an open mind, I'll say that. Yeah. But I've seen no evidence. And actually, I find it quite highly unlikely because James Fatiska had counsel. And they would have been representing him at the time. Now, I appreciate he let them go, or they stepped away for whatever reason. We don't know the reason behind that, and it's not uncommon for people to change representation. It's not a big flag for me. But if there was a problem with kind of coercion of any kind, then they could have brought it to the judge, and I would imagine that his lawyers would have done that. So I'm really struggling to. It doesn't sit with me, and there's no evidence of it. But yeah. My personal opinion of James Fatiska, because I've said this all the way along, I find that he kind of switches allegiance very quickly.
Mhm.
You know, there is evidence that he's friends with Leslie Sloan. There's evidence that he wanted to speak to Brian Friedman.
Well, I'm gonna go hit him up right now then.
And you know, I mean, I don't know why he would give Brian Friedman all of that information and then send a text and say, "Oh, by the way, I don't want to be part of this lawsuit." What did he expect? Why speak to the lawyer?
Well, and that's actually a good point, because I think that
I
text
know.
was shared. It's like, I don't want to be a part of this. Well, why are you in the middle of it?
I know, exactly. He's inserted himself. And, you know, I'm really struggling. And I've said this, I did a thread on this as well, when Leslie Sloan's motion to compel James Matuska was going on. I find it hard that a journalist, this is not just any idiot, this is a journalist who knows words, got misspoke. I can appreciate he may have misspoken initially, that I would have accepted, but he has watched that text message go into 2 complaints and be interpreted the way it was for 6 months, and he has said nothing until now. He hasn't corrected that mistake.
Yeah, that's a good
I'm
point.
just not, but I'm not buying that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think I agree with you, the way he seemed to be playing both sides and getting himself right in the middle of it to begin with.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
people's like Blake's mouthpiece and Taylor's mouthpiece, and one minute they're, you know, saying they're not friends, and then they are friends. Like, there's no integrity with so many of these platforms.
Exactly, and that text message as well that was attached to Leslie Sloan's, you know, the motion for attorney's fees and costs. The one where James Matuska apparently sent it to Brian Friedman. This whole, you know, I don't want to be part of this lawsuit thing.
Right.
Why would you screenshot that? Why would you screenshot that 10 minutes later?
That's a good question.
It seems a random thing, because you can go back to it at a later date. It's your text message, so you know it can't be deleted from the other phone.
I'll tell you why I would do it, which is I'm going to send it to someone right now to cover my ass later.
Exactly. I do, because there is text message evidence that James Matuska and Leslie Sloan were kind of, you know, friends, and there's a message literally with them saying to each other, you know, nobody knows we talk and all this stuff. And I think it was coordinated. You know, everyone is on the lively side. There's been like a massive collusion.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. There was a question, I can't find it now, but it was along the, there was, how crucial was this reporter's statement in the dismissal of any of the suits? Do you have any I know I may probably not know for sure, but what would be your thoughts kind of on that, Leanne?
It should be. It had no bearing whatsoever, because the judge should not have been looking at that. He's not supposed to be, you know, looking at that kind of evidence. He's supposed to be looking at the complaint. Okay. I don't think it had any bearing. And even if it turns out that it was coerced, I don't see it making a big difference to, like, you know, Ryan Reynolds being dismissed, or Blake Lively's defamation claim being dismissed, or the civil extortion. I don't see it. The only scenario I think that if, and I'm saying if, there was some kind of coerced under duress statement made, then it would be in the context that there's also, you know, the evidence that Taylor Swift was also extorted and threatened. And then if more evidence comes out that other people, like cast members, were, you know, allegedly threatened, then collectively it could go towards witness intimidation. I still think it's a stretch, though. We're such a long way away from that.
But can you imagine if it comes out like that? Like, this case is wild.
Oh, it's mental. But I think even if this whole thing with the reporter did happen and he was somehow coerced into doing that declaration, it would only apply to Leslie Sloan. And even then, I think it's a stretch, because, you know, yeah, I think he then becomes a rather unreliable witness at that point now, because he's, you know, changing his statement.
That's a good point.
Not that he's not already unreliable, in my opinion, to be honest.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
Hey guys, my team's just going off on my work desk, so I gotta go, unfortunately.
Oh, it was so nice to have you, though. Thank you for hanging out.
Yeah, we'll do something next week.
Yeah.
All right, Leanne, you can join us as well. So.
Oh, thank you, Lauren.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.
Yeah, take care.
Yeah,
Oh.
it just seems like every day. I mean, Monday was such a shock, and now the Vanzan subpoena's out. It just seems every single day there's something new going on.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna hear more things coming out. I don't know what.
Mhm.
I'm feeling like, why are now Ryan Reynolds is completely out of this, so why is he not kind of putting out statements about, well, I should have never been brought in, doing some kind of damage limitation? But also, Blake Lively was so quick to do her victory lap when the motion to dismiss came out. Like,
Mhm.
why is she so quiet? And I think something is going on behind the scenes.
And that's what I was saying yesterday, because if, like, to me, it just made no sense. I was expecting Blake to hit the ground running with, see, Friedman was out here talking up the amended complaint and how they were going to keep going with it, and he didn't. But there's been like nothing at all.
No, it's been so quiet. Like, and I was expecting something. I don't know what, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was some possible talks. They've struck a deal somehow, because she didn't attend her subpoena either. She didn't attend her deposition either. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I was expecting to have heard her kind of, going around publicly shagging her own arse, so to speak.
Or like Instagram stories or something where it seemed like she's, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me. If you've looked at and watched, I know you guys all have, and you have, Leanne, but like, you just watch her history, and even if there was the smallest win, she was at least going to People with It magazine.
Yeah, exactly. And they took the. Oh, yeah, no, I agree. I'm trying to think. Is there another point to it? But no, I mean, there is. It's no bigger than that. It's literally, where is she? Why is everyone so quiet?
Mhm.
We've had a statement out from Friedman, which Andy kind of, he put out, which was then subsequently followed by mainstream news and other content creators. But I'm curious about the other legal options, and that's why I'm starting to wonder: are they preserving the issue for an appeal on law and fact?
I'm just so glad I had you on, because I honestly kept thinking that the once July 9th hit, that like everything was done, like they had no chance to do an appeal. But it makes so much more sense now what you're saying, because that's
Yeah,
exactly what Chris was saying. The law is not changing. He said it didn't make
no,
sense to move forward with an appeal now.
yeah, no, exactly. So yeah, if they do an appeal now, it's going to really limit them, and I think it will fail. So
Mhm.
if I see an appeal on the 9th of July, I think I might be a bit disappointed, actually, because it's not something I would personally do.
Yeah.
But I do trust that Friedman and the entire team, I'm sure they know what they're doing. It's just, the way the judge ruled and the comments. I mean, we saw it yesterday. I was on the call yesterday, actually, for
Were you?
the. I was, yeah. And, you actually heard Blake Lively's lawyer say to the judge, now remember, Judge, you said in your ruling, in motion to dismiss, that there is an ongoing smear campaign. And the judge kind of batted it back to her and said, do you have evidence? And she didn't. But
Oh
they
my.
still gave her, the scope of the discovery against these two women who I can't even see how they've got any documents, because one hasn't worked for the company for 6 months and the other one is just an employee. So you still give them discovery range from July to March this year.
Makes
And I
sense.
was like, yeah, it made no sense.
Wow. That's brutal. Yeah, I was hoping to hop on, and then yesterday just got away from me, and I totally forgot to hop on yesterday. And I just want to say, I think I can't find the comment again, but everyone's saying hi to Missy. Yes, I try to keep this chat positive and no dragging each other. I have very high standards for the chat to the point where, like, as Emily D. Baker will say, you will be yeeted from the chat if there's any shenanigans going down. So I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the chat here. Oh no, can you guys hear the chickens now?
I can.
They're all screaming. Oh my gosh, it's so loud here. But I was like, it's too nice to not stream outside, so I have to stream outside.
Yeah.
So what would you? So I think it's hard for anyone to predict what's going on. But at first, I didn't like, and I'm still not a huge fan of Brian Friedman's statement. I think it was a very vague for how much he kind of pumped up the Second Amended complaint. But he
Yeah.
talked new legal opportunities. I can't figure out what the heck the new legal opportunities would be, that they're something along those lines, or like new something that they're pursuing with the clients. They're calling mom. Yeah, they're like, "Mom, come out and give us our snacks."
Well, I mean, there would be the options available that I can think of, and there may be more, but it would be obviously to settle in some way with Blake Lively. It would be to appeal now on the, kind of on the issue of law. It would be a later appeal at the end of the trial, which would appeal the case as a whole. I'm not sure what else he's got.
Yeah,
I mean, there are options. There's definitely options. It's hard to kind of say what's going on because we don't get to hear what happens in the meeting compares and everything.
that's true.
So, and like I keep saying in my live streams, what we see on the docket, it looks like a lot, but there are a lot of parties. Sorry, my thing's going off.
Okay,
um, but there are a lot of parties, so the amount of stuff going on the docket is not it's not a lot. It's all completely normal stuff. For this stage of the trial.
okay.
But what is going on behind the scenes? What we've seen on the docket is only 10% of what is actually happening behind the scenes. So
That's
you can
true.
imagine the workload. I don't know. I mean, as of today, they are all just defendants now. So as long as Blake Lively doesn't pull her claims, I'm hoping that I think it could work out to be a good thing because now they can focus all that attention on what they need to successfully defend, and I think that's going to be the key thing.
Yeah, I agree too. And when Brian's talked about multiple times that really all this was about is clearing Justin's name, if they're focusing potentially all on that, they have the potential to put all their resources towards it. And I just can't imagine the stress of all of this for everyone involved as well. This is just getting
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter how much whether you have the best lawyers or how much money you've got to put into this, what your resources are. Litigation is not fun. It's not meant to be. It is mentally exhausting. And physically in many ways, and that's not even just the people going through it who got reputations or freedom or a lot of money or businesses livelihoods at stake. The lawyers actually meeting deadlines and trying to get, or you've seen what the letters look like, you've seen what the complaints look like, all the research that goes into one of those documents alone is immense because you've got to be looking at all your case law and all your statutes. And the one benefit about UK law is we get trained in the law of England and Wales. We're not trained in Scottish law or Northern. No, we're not. They have their own laws. It's similar, but we're not trained. And we're not trained in the law of Northern Ireland either. So so in the UK, so here, like when people from England qualify in law, they're qualifying in England and Wales, and it's kind of all one law. Whereas the one thing I've learned is there's so many different jurisdictions involved in here with different states that have their own different laws, and then you've got state and federal law, and it's been really like a mind game, kind of like a mental agility test to keep up with it all and know what law I need to look up.
That's true. I didn't even think of that. All the layers to it.
Yeah, because it's mental, but I've like really enjoyed it actually.
And
But
it shows in your threads that you put together. And like I said, there's like the best breakdown where anyone can understand what's going on.
yeah, I try to keep it kind of, because I don't get, I know not actually Golden, she gets very technical with the law, and some people want that and love that, and I kind of leave her do that, but I kind of just say, like it's almost do like an idiot's guide really of, well, this is what they're basically saying, and this is what is likely to happen next, and then add in some colourful hearts as well.
I love it. And the nice colors. You always color coordinate it so nice, so it's easy to follow. You have your little legend with the colors.
So yeah. Oh, I got it. People like. I tried it, and I thought, oh, that I quite like that. So I tried it and put it out there, and everyone just really loved it. So where I can, I do that now.
It's so good. If you guys aren't following, and you have your YouTube now too. So let me actually quick. Yes, and I agree, Glow. Like the JD trial was exhausting. Oh my goodness. And we're just following it. We're not participants. We're not
No.
It's tough. And this week, I don't know about for you, my friend, but this week's been like emotional whiplash. Like I just feel like it's back and forth where it's like, oh, it's over. Oh, no, it's not over. What's happening? And this week has just been all over the map.
Yeah, no, I feel exactly the same. And, like I know that I went a bit quiet after the motion to dismiss that come down on my birthday, actually. So I was a bit like,
oh did
no. It did, yeah. And I was like, no. But I kind of, I needed a couple of days to process everything. And then I come back and I was like, no, do you know what? Actually, some of it does make sense. So did Brian Friedman, did he write a good complaint for the legal purposes? No. He didn't, and I'm okay to say that. I love him, but I will say that.
Yeah.
But neither did Blake Lively. They were both going for PR. If you look back at the complaints, no complaint is like 200-300 pages long and got loads of images of text messages and emails stuffed into it. In a normal everyday environment, that doesn't happen.
That's
so
true.
I think when I saw the New York Times motion to dismiss, I think was the first one. I actually made a point of saying that was my first thread, I think, and I actually did the thread because I wanted to kind of make a point of saying, this is what we call a really well written complaint. Because if you look back at the complaints originally from Blake Lively and Wayfarer, they had hardly any law in them. There was
now go back and look at them again.
I know, seriously, go back. There is barely any legislation being, put in there, considering that each of them would bring in, around, over 10 causes of action. There was hardly any law to back them up. So they were definitely a PR thing. I've always said, I haven't always said, I said it last night, actually, that I think that Judge Lyman's fair in saying that he didn't that the causes of action weren't well pleaded. They weren't.
Okay.
But they did a phenomenal job in getting the public opinion back onto Justin Baldoni's side.
That's true too. And I never thought I don't know what to look for from a legal standpoint, but now that I'm gonna have to go back over them. But I've always wondered, because you have like the PR side of it and the law side of it. And that's a really good way to look at it, of like maybe they leaned a bit too much in the PR side, but they got public opinion.
But that's what you need. You tailor you tailor what you do for your client. So like if someone was representing me, they probably wouldn't need to go hard in on PR because I'm not worth millions. I haven't got a Hollywood career. So they would then take, but what all these parties really needed was the reputation, and
that's true.
That is worth something. As it sounds like it's just vanity. It's not. It's worth a lot. But I said last night, I think that if Wayfarer had filed a motion to dismiss out of Blake Lively's complaints, they may well also have been granted that, because her complaint was written with, in the same kind of perhaps even worse haphazard way, and didn't really, evidence anything. So, or rely on the law. So I think there would have been a good chance actually they may have been dismissed. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm surprised more of her stuff hasn't gotten them in trouble, because Justin's side's got in trouble for like putting things on the docket for PR or whatever, but she's done that too.
Yeah, I know what you mean with the Friedman affidavit with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Though the judge, I think the judge made the right call.
Oh.
That may not be popular opinion, but it did cause a media frenzy, and that can result in a mistrial, or it can result in tainting a potential jury pool. It could prejudice the whole case. So I know what Friedman was trying to do, but he also had the option of just picking up the phone to the judge and saying, "Hey, we've got this issue. How do you want me to proceed?" And then it would have been out of the public view. He did do it for PR.
Yeah, it was.
Even if everything he was saying was absolutely true, which I don't doubt. If he's written an affidavit, I 100% believe him that he had some evidence of extortion.
Agreed.
And no problem with that. But I know Blake Lively put her letter on the docket, and if Friedman had filed a motion to strike hers, that may have been gone too, but he didn't, and that's why it wasn't. Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
No, I mean the judge also could have took it upon himself too. I'm not saying the judge couldn't. He could have, but the affidavit had so much detail in what was going on, and the media did go nuts over it, and that then. Judge Lyman is he's very much doesn't want, he's made his position quite clear a number of times about litigating this in the press and everything. So I do think that particular decision was fair. And to put it into context, a lot of people think, oh, he come down too hard, or he didn't. He issued a kind of a "don't do this again" thing, but what he was effectively doing was pulling apart two scrapping toddlers, bickering over a dummy.
Yeah,
and that's what it was. If Judge Lyman was really that angry, then he would have sanctioned Friedman there and then, and he wouldn't have needed to wait for any request from the Livelies. So the fact that he didn't actually means that it wasn't that big of a deal. It was like look, I'm removing this. Don't put this shit on my docket again.
It is like a fed up mom, right?
Yeah.
Don't make me come back there.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. But I mean, there were options to Friedman to have done this more discreetly. But and I'm not knocking him either. It is a PR thing.
Yeah.
Because if Blake Lively got in a protective order about that, which she did try to do subsequently and failed, but if she had successfully got in a protective order, then that couldn't have been ever made public, so we would never know about that.
That's true too. This is just wild. This case, every time I think it can't get more wild, it does.
Yeah, it's definitely the most out there case I've ever seen.
Yeah. What is that noise? Oh, it's the ducks again. Keep trying to distract me. Yeah, at the end of the day, I think my opinion, I'm gonna see what you think too. So, oh my gosh, we've been going for an hour and a half, and then we'll wrap up. So what my opinion is at the end of the day, the biggest thing for Justin is if they go all the way to court and he's able, kind of like JD did, prove in court, look, this SH didn't happen. And then he gets to clear his name. He's vindicated, or the dog's coming out. Oh, I thought you were bringing the dogs out. He's vindicated. And I do think there's an opportunity for him to go back to his brand of Man Enough and rebuild from there. But it has to go the way. But unless she does a public apology, she might get backed in a corner by Taylor Swift and feel like she has no other option.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear your thoughts.
It's possible. I think he's going to be hard pressed to get a public apology out of her or a retraction unless it goes to the court. But
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point.
and this is where I do think Friedman has done a great job, right? Because I watched all 6 years of Johnny Depp because I was able to watch the UK
Oh, that's
in real
right.
time. Yeah. I was able to then obviously everyone watched the trial and the Dr. Spiegel who diagnosed him based on the characters. And yeah, I was shouting in the background like when you were like, I can't remember his name, and that was me shouting. But yeah, so I watched the whole thing, and when Andrea Burkhart then subsequently got all of the filings and went through it. I mean, that was wild. You see how much went on behind the scenes, and there are only two parties. Just for context, there were 16 in this at one point. So, even I think people are still 50-50, no, not 50-50, maybe 70-30 on Johnny Depp at the moment.
That's true.
Because,
There is still some. Yeah.
yeah, he's still got a heavy, like a heavy amount of people who are against him and still believe that he abused Amber Heard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is because he does have a reputation for his alcohol and drugs, but Justin Baldoni doesn't have any of that. And I think he's going to walk out of this quite strong because not many people knew who he was before all of this.
Yeah.
Now a lot of people know. And we can't unsee all of the crap that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have been doing over the years now. Now we've kind of gone, digging it all up. It can't be unseen.
Exactly. I agree. And that's a great point that there's really not a problematic history for Justin to dig up. He seems fairly unproblematic. And I like that you contrasted that with why maybe some people still might believe that Johnny did something.
Yeah. And I think that's really important to remember. I mean, I've really looked for any black marks against Justin Baldoni.
Yeah.
I've even done deep dives on. There have been 3 lawsuits brought against him. One I haven't bothered with at all. With I think it's an NFL player or something. It might be.
Yeah.
Who sold the rights to his autobiography.
Mm-hmm.
Wayfarer just chose not to pursue the project basically, and they shelved it. And the guy is now suing to get the rights back. That I didn't bother looking at that because, well, that happens. You sell your rights. It's up to the studios then if they actually want to do something or not.
Yep.
So that is a big nothing to me. Then I looked at the Travis Flores case, which was copyright infringement, and it was proven beyond doubt that Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer did not steal anything, and they did not have to settle anything either. It was another person who ended up being a consultant on 5 Feet Apart, the film 5 Feet Apart.
Right.
He may have taken some ideas and he had to pay the settlement, but that had nothing to do with Baldoni or Wayfarer. And then there was the racial discrimination one as well, Shane Norman. Again, he claimed Steve Sarowitz said, we need people like you, but then he didn't sue Steve Sarowitz personally. He sued Justin Baldoni and he sued Wayfarer. He also dismissed his claims without any settlement from them. And Shane Norman is actually, he's actually got Justin Baldoni as a client currently now. So we're obviously on good terms. I really can't find anything that makes me think, oh my God, this guy is problematic.
Well, and if we start in regards to the copyright things, how many stars? I mean, even Taylor Swift had one recently where someone was trying to sue her for copyright. Unfortunately, it happens.
Exactly. And, I've spoken to Marilyn Starkloff, who sued Ryan Reynolds and Maximum Effort for copyright, for stealing her copyright infringement. She settled with them. That was only at the end of last year. And Blake Lively, I found 4 cases. They ended up not really going anywhere. But if we're talking about cases that were started and didn't go anywhere, we're applying that standard to Justin Baldoni. Well, then Blake Lively's got twice as many as he has.
That's a good point too. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. How about you let people know where to find you? Are you going live later today on your channel?
I don't have any plans today. I might do something tomorrow, possibly. But yeah, I am on YouTube and I'm on X predominantly. But it depends what comes out because
Yeah. You never
might
know
not
what.
tomorrow because the Vanzan, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just go to the channel and
Yeah,
hit notifications is what we need to do for your channel.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've only started it like about a month ago. So I've got quite a few, about 20 videos out. It's not much, but you know, I'm hoping to build.
Of course, you're going to build. Everyone loves you. You're fantastic. Well, thank you for hopping
Oh,
on last minute. I appreciate it.
oh, thank you for inviting me. I always enjoy coming to talk to you.
I love chatting with you. All right, guys. Well, we'll close it down here. We went for an hour. I always say it's going to be under an hour. Here we are, an hour and a half again. It happens. But thank you so much, Leanne, for hanging out. And thank you so much for the chat. You guys are the best chat in the world. Thank you for hanging out with us. Make sure to go support Lauren and Leanne if you're not already. But with that, guys, we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Ashley.
See ya.